In the climate of politics in modern times, an aversion to even the softest violence has developed. Most Western leftists, if we can even call them that, are obsessed with the optics they believe the rest of us must present to the literal bigots and milquetoast, apathetic, do-nothing moderates in the way of our progress. While political fervor has certainly never been absent in conservatism and fascism, often liberals, the group who claims we need to progress, but apparently we have to do it the right way, their way, are uncomfortable with or even straight up against actionable pressure like revolutionary violence. However, being against revolutionary violence is not only hypocritical, not only is it contradictory, but it's also completely missing the point in traditional liberal fashion. Almost all civil rights achievements have been acquired from planned and organized and honorable acts of forceful pressure on the government and corporations carried out by working class people. And what is achieved with this subjective perception of peace right now was the end result of people committing actionable force upon the economic and political entities that be. There is a perception that physically taking back our government, our jobs, our way of living is somehow wrong, even though we are living in some of the most challenging times in human history. This perception that action is bad is delusional because these institutions maintain their power with force. The elites use economic violence to threaten us with homelessness if we don't give them a substantial portion of our income. The police threaten us with incarceration if we step out of their version of a line. Long school hour days are mandatory. Missing work will lose you your job and thus your ability to provide a living for yourself, and so much more. Essentially, when we choose to be complacent with the current times, we effectively accept and even normalize the social conditions and structures which we have all almost unanimously agreed have pretty ample and systemic problems with them. And you know why those problems never changed. Because the average person isn't making the decisions about people's working lives. Those problems are changed only when the people are in control of our jobs, our society, our economy, and everything about our own way of living. When one rejects revolution, they accept the threat of homelessness. When you reject socialism, you accept exploitation and wage slavery. When you reject internationalism, you side with the complacency of imperialism. It is impossible not to be stuck between picking these two sides. You have to choose one. When anyone rejects revolutionary struggle, two things are said. First, any proponent of this stance indirectly saying to those who are fighting that those forceful efforts are pointless, futile, or even sometimes, they're called immoral or too far, shows that they don't actually understand. It also shows the average liberal, usually a liberal stance, but moderates have these positions too. The average liberal is willing to sacrifice their own betterment and integrity to accept actual tyranny and oppression they face right now. They're willing to say, I can tolerate our subjugation, but as soon as other people rebel, that's where I draw the line. Once again, to be against revolutionary struggle is to be against the working class. There is no peace for Black Americans victimized by police brutality. There is no peace or stability for the homeless who are overwhelmingly mentally struggling or disabled. The only reason anyone would advise to use these ethical channels of voting or passing legislation is because these channels have proven to not work. They have shown they are futile in almost all points. History has shown that unless the state is in control of a unified working class political party, then we will constantly vie for control to have even the smallest concession, which of course could be overturned at a moment's notice. When any person mentions they are uncomfortable with this kind of revolutionary action and subsequently sit in a position of privilege, the message being conveyed is, the genocide America committed in the Middle East isn't important. The ethnic erasure of indigenous peoples in America is just something to overlook. The subjugation and degradation of Black Americans isn't all that pressing. It's inescapable to both affirm a distaste of revolutionary action and to be for better working conditions. You can't have both. There's an inseparable connection between fighting for one's rights and actually getting them. The fight for less hours, for more pay, to have our health care and education covered, to have a great place to sleep and live, All of this must be fought for because none of it was ever given for free. All of it has been achieved from the backs of people who suffered before the changes were made and the backs of the people who fought to make said changes. Thanks to the ignorance of the massively effective American misinformation education campaign for the last 80 years or so, American workers have lobotomized the part of their brain that is filled with outrage at how they and their communities are being treated. We have pacified the fight, the heart, the soul within all of us that screams to us in the deepest part inside of ourselves that something is wrong, that we don't have to accept this, that we can choose to do something even better. Progress comes when you're willing to fight for it, and it will never be granted easily, even if the average person, especially in America, takes it for granted every single day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you think. Just try to make this one a little shorter. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks again, guys.